Where is Birding go? Okay, we have another from Kampala and Nairobi. Okay, very interesting. I actually visited East Africa last year with my wife, and it was such a wonderful journey to be there. I was in Kampala, in Uganda, and I remember living in Entebbe for about 2 weeks, and then I also went to Rwanda. It was such a wonderful experience, and I wish I had more time to come to Kenya also. The closest I was to Kenya is probably a city called Jinja here, and it is also where the River Nile starts. It was such a wonderful and beautiful experience traveling through East Africa, and I wish I could talk to you in person and could get to see more of the country myself. And I hope everyone is doing fine in this COVID-19 period. Really miss being in East Africa. Now, what I wanted to talk to you today about is how to maintain your data science portfolio. There's one more question I wanted to ask you. If you could write in the chat box, what is everyone doing? Are all of you university students, or are you doing data science jobs? Are you doing jobs that are not part of data science? What is that you're exactly doing at the moment? Okay. If you're a student, could you please write you're studying computer science, or what semester or year? So everyone in chat box, if you could just write if you're a student or not, what you're studying, what year you're studying. Okay, so we have software engineering student, third year, information systems, third year. Okay, mathematics, statistics. Data science bootcamp. Okay, all good, very nice. Now, I hope that the thing that you're studying at universities are very helpful in your journey toward data science. I think East Africa has some of the best institutions in whole Africa when it comes to studying. Last year, I was also in Makerere University in Kampala, and it's known to be one of the best universities where all the presidents and prime ministers actually go to study. And I can safely say that the education standards were quite nice. And one thing that I wanted to make clear is, if you're planning to come into data science fields, one of the misconceptions is that people think that they need to have a 4-year bachelor's in computer sciences under your belt, or you need to have a master's or PhD in computer sciences or physics or mathematics or a relevant degree. Now, fortunately, that's not true. Data science is an interdisciplinary field. That means that a basic job for a data scientist is to find patterns in the data that you would then present in a graphical form and show it for the business use cases. And for that, you do not actually require that. You could come from business background, you could come from social sciences background, anything that would help you understand patterns. And then you can learn technical tools like Python or R or MS Excel or Tableau or Power BI, any tool that would actually help you to get started. Of people have come from other backgrounds in data science fields, and one of the best data scientists actually do not come from computer science background. For example, everyone probably knows here already self-driving car Tesla. The chief data scientist there is Andre Karpati, who there are a lot of examples where people come from. Don't think that you're being crippled by a degree which does not follow the computer science background. Now, the other thing that I would like to mention here, specifically in terms of how to make a data science portfolio, is that I receive a lot of applications. I do a lot of interviews. I look at recruiters at very few times, very few moments to look at your resume and decide if that's worth pursuing or not. So on average, you have 30 seconds to 40 seconds to look into your CV, read it, and see if you're the kind of person who would actually make it to the end, to the interview, because they don't want to waste any time and you don't want to waste any time. So that means that you have a very short window to make an impression on recruiters and convey the skills that you have, or the courses that you've done, and any other thing that might help you land a job. Now, one of the articles that I absolutely like when it comes to explaining the data science work or recruitment cycle, it's an article by Michael Garanik. Let me actually show you the article. So in this article, he talks about the requirements of maintaining a data science portfolio. And he talks about different kinds of projects that you should actually have in your portfolio to show the diversity of the work that you can do. So it could be natural language processing projects, it could be regression problems, it could be classification problems, it could come from financial industry, it could come from healthcare industry. So it should be a very varied mix of projects that shows a recruiter that you can actually do something that is not a reapplication of existing projects. There's some flavor of yourself or some innovative idea that you have implemented in current algorithms, be it a business idea or be it an algorithmic improvement that you have done. Something unique has to be there, and then you have to comment your code properly to find out to show that what is exactly what you have improved in that algorithm. Now, one of the mistakes that I often see is that new data scientists, when they're applying for position, they include problems that are so common and only beginners do that. They include that in their portfolio, which is a big sign that this is a beginner. So some of the projects that you might not want to include in your portfolio are the survival classification on the Titanic dataset. It's one of the most famous datasets on Kaggle. Also, the MNIST dataset for handwritten digital classification is something that you might not want to add. Then we have flower species classification, IRIS dataset. It's a very small dataset, and that's something that you do not want to add. So make sure when you are applying in reports that are iterative, like you keep explaining the same things over and over, and you apply with the same portfolio on every job without actually reading the job description and molding your portfolio according to the job requirements. you don't get a good response because of those. Include everything in the word to show that you can do that. But what I'm looking for is include everything that you have done. And a lot of people make this mistake when you do apply for positions and you do not include relevant projects. Now, if you want to apply to a position, make sure that you have resume that includes only those parts that are relevant to the position. So, for example, if there is a data science position that requires you to apply as a software engineer, so this is a very short form of a resume that has conveyed everything that an employer needs to read, and that it also makes clear that you include everything that you want to show to your employer. So that is your education, your experience, your extra courses that you have done, and your research work and your experience, and then some of the individual projects that you have done. So that's all a recruiter needs to do, because if there's an interest, these things are enough to pique that, and then they would just contact you when they receive your application. Now, I also want to make clear, if there are any questions at all during your presentation, just feel free to either write that in your chat box, or you can ask me by raising hands, and you can ask a question anytime you want. Now, one other thing is that when you include your objective, which is like a LinkedIn summary, don't include objectives, because that's something reserved for your LinkedIn or some unprofessional positions, where you would only want to show it as a larger picture where you want to go in life. And resume, you already have small space, so I wouldn't include that in your resume. Include that in your resume, things that would actually help you get to the job. Now, if you've done any coursework in the university or on Coursera or on Udemy or any place that is relevant to the position that you're applying. So, for example, if you're applying for a job where there's a computer vision um, expert needed, you won't be adding natural language processing courses, 5 or 7 of them. Maybe one of them you could add that, and just show them that you can work on diverse problems. But do not add a lot of courses and take a lot of space if it's not matching with the job description. And you will definitely want to add the skills that you possess, and it could be very different skills. Here in an example, you could only see the tools that are listed, but you can also add your soft skills, especially if that's a management position or a supervisory position, in which leadership skills are important also. And always visualize that. Don't write, I can enumerate that. It has a very appealing effect and aesthetic effect if you visualize the information you have. One aspect of it is that when you're doing the exploratory data analysis in data science, that is the exact same thing you do. So it would be really interesting that if you could visualize that within your resume, so that they can see that you have an aesthetic sense when it comes to manipulating data and visualizing it. Now, you could also add your skills. What other skills do you have in your resume? Then include the projects that you have done, and make sure these are the projects that are done end-to-end pipeline. Let me tell you an example that I received an application the other day from a data scientist for an internship. And I asked him if there's another project that you have done, and he sent me a link for the GitHub. Now, the problem is that when you send me the GitHub link, you should properly comment that and list everything in the project. It should include the the exploratory data analysis, or at least what's the project about, what is the background, what is the history, and you should include a link on which the project is deployed. It could be an Heroku app, it could be an Amazon instance, it could be a Google Cloud app, but I should be able to interact with the app. So one of the examples that I could show you for such app is, just a minute. So if you're looking in, if you're working in R, so this is one app. This is a sample app on the R Shiny apps. So this is basically NCAA swimming demonstration for the app, in which you can actually interact with different modules. So anything that the employer needs to actually see that you have done something practical, and you can interact with that. So he only sent me the GitHub link without any proper annotation, without commenting, without explaining what the project is about. And he expect almost, I am assuming no one has time for that. So make sure when you apply for a job, you have an end-to-end pipeline implemented already in your application, so that people can see that you can do something. Don't expect employers to do it for you, because they don't have much time to look for that. So when I talk about end-to-end, what I mean is that you should have the data set. Then you should impute the missing values, normalize it, do the feature selection. Then you have to create models. Then you have to optimize models. You have to do the hyperparameter tuning. If you're doing bagging and boosting, do that. And then finally furnish the results, and then deploy that model somewhere, which is an interactive app, which I can actually see that you have done that. If you don't know how to do the app deployment, either learn that or ask a DevOps friend of yours to help you get started with that. So that's something that's called the complete machine learning end-to-end pipeline. You should know the end-to-end pipeline, or you should actually find someone who would help you implement your machine learning model. And there are so many tools these days that you can use for that also. Heroku is a very good place to start. You can create a free account, and then you can deploy your apps there also. Now, speaking of the projects, when you list your projects, don't only write that this is the name of the project. In under the project, write where have you done this project, what was your achievement, what is the new thing that you have tried, and what you have learned from that. If there is a research paper that you are deploying this project from, give the link for the paper also, so that it makes very clear that you have not only spent time reading the paper, understanding that, deploying that. The employer also want to see the kind of creativity that you put in that application. Every one of you to do is to maintain your online presence. You should have a LinkedIn account, a GitHub account. If you're into Kaggle competitions, you should have a Kaggle competition, Kaggle profile, and you can create a Medium blog. You can also have a Quora account where you can ask questions and respond to other people's questions. So make sure that you're visible online, so that people can see that you're putting effort into your career and your job. Then make sure that your experience is similar to your job. It's not like that you're doing applying for one job and your experience comes from a totally different background. So make sure it aligns well with your job. Even if you have diverse interdisciplinary experience, write your skills and experiences in a way that actually helps you in your new job. To find a way to actually match these two. Now, importance of social media is that you should follow the influencers on LinkedIn, on other places to find out what are the new trends in the field that you're studying. So, if you're studying statistics, for example, go to Google Scholar and subscribe for the new updates for all the papers in your specific field. It could be statistics only. It could be inferential statistics. It could be descriptive statistics. Anything that's related to your field. Subscribe to the notifications for new paper. As soon as the new paper comes, read that, and then if you understand that and you like that, share that on your LinkedIn so that people can find out that you're reading something. It not only generates knowledge, it gives other people the tips where to find answers, and then it portrays you as someone who puts effort in research and development and who thinks about new issues. So I would really recommend that you follow influencers on LinkedIn and contact them. Now, one other thing is that make sure when you're having a LinkedIn profile, you have a nice professional picture on that. You have a complete profile in which you have listed your education, your interests, your experiences, your goals, everything, so that when someone looks at your profile, they can think of you as someone who is reliable and authentic, and they would like to connect with you. Now, if you're in blogging and if you want to write about your experience, I think Medium is the best platform. One of the channels on Medium that you can join is towards the data science blog, which has one of the best articles on data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and topics which are similar to that. Also, a lot of career advice. So you can follow that for the latest information, and you can subscribe to their updates so that as soon as they publish something, you would have an idea that you have something new to read. Now, that's pretty much it. If you still have time and you want to know more, follow the Twitter discussions between the influencers. Some of that, one of those that I would really recommend is Francois Collet, which is the creator of Keras library in TensorFlow. And then there's another platform called Tableau Public, where you can actually create your account and show off your projects that you have done in Tableau also. So to sum it up, share, study, program, read, and network, and then use these tools to both share your knowledge. It gets you to the interview, and then you can gain knowledge and then improve. So this cycle keeps going on. Now, this is something that I wanted to share with you in terms of data science. There's another thing that I believe is very important in life. And I think in some cases, that's probably the most important thing. It could be data science. It could be anything. It could be any other profession. It could be life in general. But one thing you want to do in life is to find a mentor who doesn't only tell you about data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, but also how to be happy in life. Because I believe that there's nothing that you can do in life if you're not doing it happily. Find that one person who understands you. It could be your friend, it could be an elder, it could be a teacher, it could be a colleague, it could be a stranger, anyone that teaches you that doing things out of pure joy, out of fun, that's what makes life so interesting. So one of the things that I actually ask people when they look for an advice is that, why do you want to study data science? Why do you want to study machine learning? Why do you want to study artificial intelligence, or in general any career advice that they seek from me, I ask one question: why do you want to do that? And I get a lot of different responses, all good responses. Um, but what I want to know is that thing, that one thing that you would do even if there was no money involved. For example, if you had enough money already, if you had a good job, if you were rich enough, would you still do that? Would you still do data science if you didn't need the money or a job? And if the answer is yes, probably then that's the gift that you're born with. You thoroughly enjoy the process of learning new things. It's the joy of your life. For example, I remember I love to read research papers like people read their WhatsApp messages. So it's fun for me. I was very young. My both parents were PhD doctors, and I had a lot of books at my house. And both of us brothers, we were encouraged to read books. And that's where I found this habit. And I always wanted to seek patterns between things. I would try to learn new things, try to manipulate things, and do some experiments on why do people do these things. And this is why I travel a lot. I go to different places in the world, trying to find out some things that would improve my own conception of the world. So if that's the kind of person that you are, who loves to do things without any greed, without any need, without any claim to fame or anything, then that's something that you're born with. Find your gift in life. If you go on my website, most of my work is in personality psychology, and I also have a test. It's called Big Five Personality Test. It's one of the most academically well-edged scientific tests that tells you about Big Five personality domains, and where do you lie in comparison with other people. So these Big Five domains are openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. So these are basically those five big domains in which how we differ with other people. And if you go to my website and take this test, then you would have a complete 52-page personal report, and that's, by the way, absolutely free. So you simply have to answer the questions, and you will generate a report, and that would help you a lot finding out what's the gift that you're born with. So you might not even want to do data science. I know that from Kenya, all the long distance running athletes, marathon runners, they come from Kenya. All the high endurance sports, there are a lot of Kenyan athletes who perform the best in that. So if that's your gift, just simply run whatever makes you happy. If you want to paint, just go out and paint. I mean, you have wonderful landscapes in Kenya. I think the greenery is spectacular. When I was there, it was so mind-boggling that how could a country be so beautiful? And I haven't been to Kenya myself, but I think the landscape, from what I've heard, it's even better than Uganda in some cases. And then if you want to play music, just make music. If you want to travel, just take a bike or take a car, or just walk, just travel and see how people live. Just find this gift, whatever makes you happy. The world really needs happy people. Whatever you think that's important in life, do that. I mean, for me, myself, also, when I'm not doing data science, when I'm not traveling, and I want to find some news, I have this thing. So I play when I want to relax and think about other things, and I do long walks. So whatever makes you happy, do that. I think you also have a Nobel Prize from such a brilliant woman called Wangari Maathai. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but she got a Nobel Prize for the environmental work, and it's a place where there are so many talented people. So you just find this one thing. And one of the things that I wanted to especially request you to do, I do all this for free. I mean, if you ever need any help, just send me a message on LinkedIn, contact me, and I would love to help you. But there's one thing that I want every one of you in return, which is that you don't have to be a CEO or a president or someone rich or a politician to help other people. And there's always this one person that you can help who needs your help. So after today, do me a favor. If there's just one person that you can find and help them, please do that. I'll tell you a little story, and that will be my last. When I was young, when I was in college or almost university, so I didn't have parents. My mother died when I was young, and I didn't have enough money to go and study abroad. I could do just fine, but it's not enough to actually go all the way to Europe or US and study. And I found one guy I was talking to, and he was studying in US. He's from Pakistan also, and we started talking, and he asked me, "Why don't you go and study in Europe or come to US? I mean, you're brilliant. I mean, you have the talent and you have the courage, and then you have the intellect that you would need to come to um, places like that." And I said, "Well, I don't have enough money to be able to pay for these English language tests, which is IELTS or TOEFL that you would need to go to university." And he said, "That's not a problem. I'm going to go ahead and pay for you. You just take the test and then just simply apply for that." And I think this is a mistake that I made in my life earlier on, at least. And if you need help, just ask that. I mean, I was too proud not to ask help, but people are really readily able to help you if you ask them and if you show them that you can do that. So I took that one advice. I did the test. I totally crushed it. I scored perfect almost on TOEFL. And then I got the admission, and that pretty much changed my life. I studied in Sweden for 4 or 5 years. I learned 3 or 4 languages. I speak 8 languages. Adding those languages, I get to travel whole Europe. I met wonderful friends. I learned a lot of different things. I got to write my own book, and I developed initial ideas on personality psychology during my graduate work. So the idea is that if you ever need help and you know that you can crack it, just don't feel shy to ask for help. Just go ahead and ask for help, and then tell them that how would you actually make difference. So don't think that if you come from a place or a background where chances are less for you, that should be the limiting factor. And you can do anything in life if you want to do, and if you can put your mind to do that. There's always this one person who believes in you, and there's always this one idea that you can think the best. So my advice is that if you ever need help, if you really believe in yourself, because no one else is going to do that unless you do that. If you do that, then no one can actually stop your way. And if there is anything that I can ever do for you, don't feel shy to ask for that. Thank you so much. And if there are any questions, I'll be more than happy to take them now. Are there any questions? I can also drop the link for my LinkedIn profile, so feel free to connect with me. And I also have a YouTube channel in where I invite influential researchers who come and talk about their work and their life and their experiences. So you can follow that also. I think Machira has the question, where do I work? I have my own company. Sorry, Machira, yes, that's your name. And we are business partners with Microsoft and IBM and Adobe in Pakistan. I also work as a professor in a university here, teaching business communication and input-output psychology and other subjects. I also write for different newspapers. I have published 3 books. One of my research interests is on the intersection of machine learning, data science, and psychology. Um, and I think that's pretty much it.
I have a question. I don't know if you
Sure.
can hear me.
Yes, I hear you.
Yes. So there's this thing we've been seeing all around. Data is the new oil, uh, and many people come out to say that data science is the biggest new field. Like everyone should get into data science. But currently, I don't seem to see many people offering data science jobs as compared to the people who are promoting the courses and everything related to data science. The thing is that there is more of learning, but I don't see many people offering jobs or places. I don't know if only in Africa or even that side.
Mhm. And I think it's a very good question that Western countries in US, in Europe, in Australia, in New Zealand, a lot of those jobs actually exists plainly there. And even if you have projects in Middle East or in South Asia or Africa, then these are the people who are collecting data only from these areas, and then data goes back to these countries and they have their own data scientists. But the good part of it is that these jobs, they're coming back to Middle East and South Asia and Africa, and there will be a lot of jobs that will be coming to these areas. So if you're on the top of the cusp, if you are someone who already known as expert, so you will be the first one to actually get that. Also, since we have COVID-19 now, a lot of jobs are remote jobs. And if you're working from Middle East or South Asia or Africa, one of the edges that we have in this job application is that if you really know your work as good as someone in US and Europe, then you would likely get the job because of the difference between the average per hour wages for someone in US and in someone in Africa. So I think it's a very good incentive in terms of it should give you an impetus to learn those data science skills before it actually comes to your place. I do understand for right now it's a very niche field, but you don't only have to work for jobs. I mean, find a problem around you, um, look at a human challenge around you, collect the data, and create an app, and make a business idea of that also, and then you can become an entrepreneur on your own. So fix a problem in your society, make it a business model, and then you can start earning from that also. And you can get a lot of ideas from a website called Product Hunt. That's a website where a lot of people come and find different ideas and then make it into a business product, and then people are crowdfunding that and sourcing that. So if you have a good idea, if you have a good business, and if you see the future for that, then you can go and ask for a partner who would invest in your business, and they can help you. And this is how all the funding rounds start, and then you can start your own business. So don't wait for the opportunities to come to you, create your own opportunities. And we have seen a lot of cases, a lot of good entrepreneurial projects from Africa. Like I said, I was in Uganda, and I see a lot of people starting their own businesses, creating websites, talking to different companies, creating synergies. But that's something that you can do also. Um, I mean, I hire a lot of people around the world. I have people from IIT, some people from Africa also. So if you have a good portfolio, you can always come to and do internships with me also. And if I ever need people, first, and the most important step is to acquire the necessary skills. That's what I would say. Sure. Let me actually write that in the chat. You're welcome. Is there any other question that I can answer for you? Is that it?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah, my question is, well, I'm a statistician and I do a lot of study. Like I've been going through so many languages, various languages, and my field is not direct in the field of data science. But then I was asking, how can I get much involved in data science? How can I make this field become much more involved in data science?
Okay. I think it's a very good question. I think you have a very good starting point as a statistician in the data science field, because data science actually builds upon statistics. So if you know the probability, if you know the distribution curves, if you know the regression, if you know different algorithms and how to use those principles in visualization of the data, you already know a lot about machine learning. So the only thing that's left for you probably is to learn a language in which you could apply these concepts in algorithm form. So if you want to start with academic research, I think the good language for you would be R. I would suggest that download RStudio and install on your computer, and then learn about different libraries. You can learn simple notebooks. You can learn different algorithms like regression or classification, visualize the data, learn about Markdown, R Shiny applications. You can find a gallery on their website. I showed you the gallery earlier in my session also. If you want to start with Python, simply use Jupyter Notebook, install Anaconda on your computer, or just watch any YouTube video on how to start using Python. Use a notebook and start applying these concepts. So I think you are in a very good position to start data science because you already know statistical concept. Some people would actually argue that data science is nothing but statistics. But my personal opinion is that data science is not only about the tools, it's about a mindset. If you can see the bigger picture of the data that you have in front of you, and you have this intuition that what's going to happen in the future, or you can classify things in a manner that makes sense. And if you can intuitively find out patterns in the data, then that is something that's more valuable in the longer run than only knowing tools. So for example, even in data science, there are different fields. There's a data science manager or the machine learning manager who takes care of all the project, and then we have data scientists who finds patterns in the data, and then we have machine learning researcher who finds different algorithms to make sure that they are appropriate for the kind of analysis that you're doing. And then we have DevOps guy who actually implements the machine learning algorithms on different clouds. And we have machine learning engineers who create pipelines, who do the data ingestion and a lot of big data things using Hadoop, Spark, Scala, and a lot of other tools. So this is a huge field. So you have to find your own niche and get started. And I think you're in a very good position to do that. So I would recommend that you do some courses online on Coursera or Udemy, or a lot of other places that offer free courses. On my YouTube channel, I interviewed one of the most famous professor who runs the channel called StatQuest, Dr. Joshua Stama, and learn about machine learning and neural networks and different algorithms on his channel, StatQuest. And from there, there's another guy called Krish Naik, and then you can watch all his YouTube videos, and he has extensive library for that. So there are so many YouTube resources available. So you're in a very good position to start.
Hi, I have
Hi.
a question.
Sure, go ahead.
My question is it possible to implement the data science on things like forex trading?
Yes, I think it's a brilliant question, because probably the most profitable research and both data science jobs are from the fintech industry. So it's finance and technical field. So when you put that together, it's called fintech. And in fintech, I think one of the most lucrative positions are in data science. And you have to use time series forecasting to find out what would be the stock prices in the future. And I think 70 to 80% stock market trading these days are algorithm trading. So that means that big investment firms, they use algorithms to decide when to invest and when to pull out their money from certain stock. So if that's something that you're interested in, and if you have some expertise, I would really encourage you to explore the algorithms used in fintech. I think some of the most interesting libraries that you would find for it would be the time series forecasting. So learn more about the Arimax and Serimax and other algorithms that actually will help you get started in this industry. So yes, to answer the question, fintech is a very lucrative industry. You're welcome. Do you have any other questions? So I think we have a question here. It goes, can you apply it in the design industry? What do you mean design industry? Do you have a specific design like interior design or fashion design? What kind of design are you talking about? Graphic design. Okay. Yeah, I think graphic design is a very interesting field in the sense that you can use a lot of data that you generate from customer feedback, especially if you are in UX, which is the user interface research area. You can collect a lot of feedback from users who are going to be using a certain web application or mobile application or anything where they would interact with their user interface. So once they give you different feedback on different version of your design, you can use this data and use machine learning algorithms to find different patterns and what would be the most optimal experience for the users. So in that sense, you can definitely use data science in graphic design also. Now, one of the things that's more important is that any field, and we live in 2021, so we are generating a lot of data. So any field that generates data is a possible job opportunity for you. This is why I mentioned earlier, don't wait for jobs to come to you, create your own jobs. So for example, if you go to a restaurant and you see, they're wasting a lot of food, or they're using more employees on a certain process that they can already automate, think of that idea, try to find a way to automate that process. Go to that restaurant owner and tell them, this is the machine learning algorithm or AI algorithm that's going to save you a lot of money, and I can implement it for you. How much would you pay for that? And I mean, if they're saving money and you're solving a problem for them, I don't see any reason why they would deny you either a job, or they would pay you for your product or service, whatever you want to offer them. Don't wait for jobs to come to you. Create a product or create a service, and then simply go to people who are more likely to buy them and just pitch them the idea. Oh, you're most welcome. Any other questions? I would also like to let you know that every week, even though my schedule is very busy, every week I spare 3 hours to mentor beginners, startups, and not non-for-profit organizations, and help them do their work. I do their work every week for 3 hours. I mean, you can at least have one slot for 1 hour. So it's just 3 people that I help every week. So if you need anything, your help with your CV, your resume, your interview preparation, your data analysis work, and if I have time, just drop me a line, and you can book a slot, and I'd be more than happy to help you with that. I speak in a lot of events like this. So if you want to organize one of these events in your university, in your developers meetup, anything at all, I would do anything that would help you land a data science job, or to improve your skills, or to simply guide you in the right direction. So just feel free to ask me for anything that I can do for you. If I could recommend you, if I could mentor you, if I could teach you, I would be more than happy to do that. Because remember, there was just one time when other people did it for me, and that changed my life. And if I can do that for one of you, I'd be more than happy to do that. Yes, I think the best way for anyone to contact me would be LinkedIn. I think I have already shared my link, but I'm sharing in the chat again. Just feel free to drop me a line whenever you need any help. Is there any other question? All right, then. Thank you so much for joining. It was a wonderful experience talking to you, and hopefully we're going to be doing that in future also. I must leave now. Unfortunately, I have to step up in another meeting, but hope to see you again